Welcome back to Rotten Rust Garage. Got a couple hours today, a couple hours tomorrow. I've got to get a lot done. I need to make some progress on this thing. We really spent a lot of time getting things cleaned, descaled, some paint on there. Now I got to start getting stuff back in order to get some shoes on this thing, get some wheels under it, get some feet under this thing so she can start rolling in and out of here to get some other things going on. I'm pretty much done with the cleanup and painting back here, but this weekend I really need to get the brakes back on, so I'm going to embarrass myself and clown my way through drum brakes. I'm not particularly good at doing this, hence I left the other side together for reference. I took a picture as well, but I like seeing the other side, and then I'll do that one. I got to get brake lines run, I got to get the master cylinder put in, I got to cut one of the brake lines and put in a prop valve, the distribution block, a whole bunch of stuff. I don't know if I'll get through it all this weekend, but I'm sure going to give it a shot. So let's get started. Okay, so let me get started on this. If I do it out of order from the way you do it, that's okay. I need to just keep practicing doing drum brakes. It's shocking how few I've had to do in my life. Or I just chose to ignore them. But, so I may not do this the way you do it, but I'm going to do it nonetheless. So let's start off with the simple stuff. And, oh man, let's hope this thing fits. Chinese, come on, really? We're going to start off this way. All right. Interestingly enough, it does not appear to fit, but it may yet. Let me keep messing with it. Good, it's already starting. That side is just being held out right there by this bracket. It is not flush. Interesting. Get one side going and the other doesn't. This top corner right here is not fitting in there. This portion, because of the bracket up here. Well, first barrier achieved. Guess I can just grind that down a little bit. Here we go. Let me see how much I need to grind off. Golly, it sucks with an American-made car putting all this Chinese garbage on here, but it's what we got. All right, only need to take off a little fraction. I'll be back. Well, there's a little bit snaked off. Let's see if that was enough. All right, nope. Still need more? Come on. Really? This is why it takes forever to put these cars back together. Because the junk doesn't fit. Luckily everything's black and I've got bad eyesight, so I can't really see. Oh, I need to take off quite a bit more. All right, I'll be back. I think I've got it shaved down enough to actually fit in there, but there we go. I think that's it. Get these bolts started. I can see not a great spot, but I feel. All right, good enough. Okay, and I got a new tool on the way to compress these springs. I think let's go ahead and start with new pins, get some of this junk going, and see if I can't start putting on these shoes. All right. So which one is my back one? This one. And this has to come up out the way, come up through it. All I'm using is brake parts lubricant from Permatex. Ceramic. I don't know. We'll see if it holds out any better than just ordinary grease. I've got this stuff, so might as well use it. Alright. Maybe by the time I get to the other side, I'll know what I'm doing a little bit better. Okay, that's on there. Now the front one. Somebody said drum brakes are easy. I beg to differ. I can't stand messing with drum brakes. That's probably why I haven't done them a lot. There we go. I guess I need to put in the adjuster, which I've already cleaned up and put Never Sees on it. And let's see, this will go here. Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna, should. I'll have to run it way shut. Fit up in here. Adjuster's in place, and now I got to get some springs going to hold these jokers where they belong. All right. All right, there's that. And we got to get this old girl on there, which should also go around that. And then this, the guide for it. Now this can go through that guide and come down to here, but I don't want to put that on yet because I get another long spring to put across the bottom, this one. And then let me get this top one in. First, this spreader for the e-brake. And that's got a little spring. Now let's bring it back in. All right. That on there? Kind of appears to be. And in the front spring, all right, it's mostly still together. And the e-brake spreader's in there. Got my guide. All right, this guy, and I gotta go. Let's keep that out of the way. So let's go this side up to that one. All right, that's got its clipped. Now back in the guide. Woo! Like I said, I am terrible at this. Now let's see if we can get this little dude. See if we can get this little dude into the hole right here. on the adjuster. Don't want to stretch that far, does he? That's interesting. Pull this spring off. Let me pull the automatic adjuster, the bottom return spring off, and see if I can get this to come up a little bit. Maybe catch this guy. That seems awfully tight, like it's not quite where it needs to be. All right, that's in there now. Let's see if I can reset this spring. Yep. All right, that's the way to do it. Click, click, click. All right. Everything appears to be on there. Whether or not it'll stop the car, TBD. It's going to be a couple months for that. Well, at least I guess I could try it without the car running, but it's power assisted brakes. They should still work though. All right, that was super easy. Let me collect up my other parts that I scattered everywhere. I'm missing a spring now because it sprung, ran away, moved to the other side. Collect up all my junk. All right, cool. Next. I really need to clean these drums with some sandpaper, but for now I just want to put it on there and see how it fits. It's gonna be tight. Too tight. Yeah, that's too tight. Okay. All right, sanded this in the drum down a little bit. Wow, I put that adjuster all the way in, and it has got too much drag on it. Huh. See how tight that is? I even took down the edge on it. It should slide on and off pretty easy. Do I got everything right? It sure looks like it. Pinned, proper gap there, springs on, that's in the right place. E-brake's in the right place, springs there, spring there, spring there. Everything looks right. I think it's just tight on these new shoes. Yeah, that's what it is. The adjuster is damn near all the way in. Let's start with it all the rest of the way. And I guess I can work on this drum a little bit more. Take down this tiny outer edge. Little rust there. But these drums were either resurfaced or new, because the back brakes that I pulled off of here were not in terrible shape. There was plenty of meat on them. That's better. And they'll self-adjust. Okay, that'll do it for this. I'm gonna shut the camera off for a little while now and go ahead and disassemble the other side, do all the cleaning over there, spritz some paint on it, cut you guys out of that so you won't suffer through my idiocy. And then get to running brake lines and stuff. So we'll be back in a little bit. So while I'm waiting for the paint to dry back there on the right passenger, right rear brake drum, backing plate, go ahead and jam this here. Yeah, there we go. Go ahead and jam this ball joint in up front. And these are tough fit. And I'll have to drive it in with an impact at the end. Very difficult to tell if you got the thread started correctly, because it's like a terrible fit. I probably need to move to a breaker bar or an impact. Because I'm dumb, I'm going to use a breaker bar. But I can run it on the impact at the very end. It's got a little bit more to go. This will probably pop off of there and hit me in the head. A little wobbly with the bushing flopping. I gotta get this thing back together though. And just run it all the way down. I have no idea what the torque would be on this. Probably all of them. That seems about the end of it there. See if I can get a little tweak on it. Well, it's still got a little bit further. All right, I think it's seated. Oh yeah, that's it. So I don't know what that is. Maybe a 150, 160 foot-pounds with this. It's a lot. It's all the pounds. All right, next. Well, good morning. Next day now. Got my coffee. And all this paint's dry, so it's time to get this put back together. Then I can put some brake lines on it and keep moving forward on this. Got, 2 or 3 hours I can work this morning before I got to move on to some other things. So let me see how much I can get done. Hopefully I won't fiddle fart with this for too long. It's probably going to take me a good 30 minutes to put this together. So I guess I'll get started. So that wasn't fun, but the brake shoes are on the back, and now I can move over to starting to loosely fit up all the pre-bent brake lines. I went this route because I just think it's going to be a lot easier, and I'm not particularly good at bending brake lines. I can do it, but let's take a look at this. Even with pre-bent that they match the factory, well, we can see that there's going to be some adjustment. So we're going to loosely fit them up. But first, let me show you this. So here we go. Here's the original one that came off, and yes, it got bent up a little bit in taking it off, which is not a terrible deal, but not a really ideal situation. So trying to line these up a little bit, you can see where the spring bolts go underneath the veer, and it's kind of difficult to get on camera. And those ends, that definitely got bent down there. If you remember, I pushed it out of the way. That I'm not worried about. This, on the other hand, at this end, once we line these up some, we see that the fitting, the flare fitting at the end, is definitely in the wrong direction. So that's going to probably necessitate me having to tweak this one around. It's got to obviously point up more like this one. If you can imagine, it goes over the center section, right, and then goes out through the clamps, and then points towards the front of the car to get into that distribution block, and this one's kind of pointing sideways. So that's kind of the standard in going ahead and putting on new brake lines. Just fit everything up really loosely and do minor tweaking by hand to get them to line up better. This one, the driver's side, it looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. I just did a little bit of bending on this end to get them to kind of point in the same direction. Don't want to go crazy out here. I want to get it under the car first, because recall, I did bend up these lines a little bit getting them out of there. Just because they were a fight to come out of the wherever they were, plugged into. So anyhow, I guess now it's time to start messing with that. Going to loosely fit things up and start running down that road. So everything's just going to loosely go on, not tightening anything yet. Everything that's got a cap on it, it's going to stay on there. Oh, I wish I had a lift to do this. Well, I'm going to start here in the center. Oh, already missing this. Here we go. Little star washer. Alright, again, not gonna snug that down too hard. Here's the rear flex line. I hope you can see that. It's obviously, this is a stainless braided line with the Teflon coating or whatever, so it should never swell. This should be a long time here on the car. Again, gonna leave this a little bit loose. That's probably too tight. Alright, well, I can wiggle this around as needed. It seems like it wants to be right there. Alright, these tubes, I'm going to leave the end caps on them, just so I don't mangle the threads or anything while I'm trying to fit them up. And I really should loosen these wheel cylinders a little bit, just to give me more wiggle room. Tighten them up while putting the brakes on, but will do no harm to loosen them some if I can get in the right position. Alright. Not a ton. Just give me a little bit, maybe more wiggle room. Not really. You have to get them pretty loose. And they're held in by the brake shoes as well. That's a little bit of wiggle room. All right. Wow, that is mangled. So there we go. It's kind of in place, but I can see it definitely is pointing in the wrong direction here. And it's got to come over considerably to meet this. All right. That'll go in some more. Let's take this out of there for now. Just trying to line it up some. Alright, I'll be back. I'm gonna get a hammer and tap this into position. It's nerfed. Well, it didn't like that bending. Oh, the paint flaked off. That's okay. We'll get it. Yeah, this is not going to go on there very well. Alright, that end needs tweaked over. Alright, well, you see what I gotta do here, and I don't think you want to watch me sit here and just go back and forth bending it, so I might record some of this and then just come back to it. Or if anything interesting happens, turn the camera back on. But this is gonna be a tennis match, I can tell you that, for the next couple of hours. Get these things right. Okay, we'll talk to you in a minute. This is a challenge, I'm not gonna lie to you, but the thing to keep in mind is all this should thread in by finger. I don't even have a flare nut wrench back here with me, a line wrench. I'm doing all this by hand, loosely, to see if it'll go together. And if it doesn't go screw in easily with just your fingers twisting it, then it's binding and you gotta work your magic again. And that's why you leave everything loose. Oh, this is a challenge, just to being under here. I never mentioned this, but I really wish I had a lift. Boy, this would be easier. Okay, so this one's a little short, it's a little off. Alright, so might have to pull this completely off to get this one started into there. Because it does not, the flare is not even going to the bottom of the block. Okay, that one's not starting easily by hand. Let's try it this way. I don't even need this on here yet. This can go back on a little bit. see what that does for me. Again, I'm going to come back to this many, many times. Am I even in the right spot for the bolt? I don't think so. All right, that's working. Again, this is just finger tightened in there. Same thing at the other end here. Everything's gonna stay loose, but this is probably gonna have to come back out while I wrangle this one in there. Oh, because this other at the slave cylinder doesn't want to go. It's got to be squared up some more. So I'll be back in a little bit. Let me mess with this. I got to move you out of the way. Okay, so I got this line fed into the wheel cylinder back here, and it's finger tightened in to show me, look, we got it's pointed off in the wrong direction. So that's the mistake that I made, trying to match it to the other lines, not realizing I probably bent that other line getting it out of here. It was originally pointing this direction, so now I'm going to go through and unbend this. So I'm going to take it back out of this wheel cylinder and straighten that thing out. So it's going to be a chore, back and forth like tennis. Okay, those are on there now. And again, just finger tightened, and you know it's finger tight when there's only about three and a half threads showing on the flare nut. I'm going to take all this back apart now because I made a mistake. It's highly recommended to blow air through here in case there's any debris. Probably won't hurt anything, but if there is from the manufacturing process any stuff in the line, just like when you're cutting your own lines, you know, and you got to file the edges and then do your flare, then you want to always blow air through it to make sure there's no filings or anything. So I'm going to take this all back apart now that I've got it together. But it went together pretty smooth, actually. Shockingly. So, all right, next. All right, here's the main line going to the back of the car. Old one on the left, new one on the right. Just unbent it because they have to bend them and have to ship them because they're so long. Looks good. I do know that portion got bent up. And what's interesting here, and this is going to be a challenge, I think, at least for me. I hate tearing apart brand new things, but somewhere in this line, maybe up through here, which will be along the front left frame rail, I got to cut it in half, reflare it, and insert a proportioning valve since I'm converting to disc brakes. So I don't know if I want to do it here or maybe back here where it snakes around the frame. The danger there is that that'll be in the line of fire of the wheel. Maybe I do it here. The question comes down to what's going to be most accessible to adjust it quickly. And here in this area, you have to get underneath the back of the car, which would be jacking the car up, and then at the other end, that'll end up on the other side of this frame rail, which, you know, probably still would have to jack the car up to be able to reach under here. This will eventually appear the adjustment slot here. The adjustment window is going to get, you know, its cover put back on. So there's really not a great place to put this. A lot of stuff's going to come down this frame rail, which would be obviously the brake lines, but you know, the starter goes in on this left side, header's got to fit through there for a big block, and I can tell you right now there's not going to be a lot of room in there, and I don't even know what the headers look like in there. So it's going to be kind of a interesting endeavor to put in that distribution block. I'm a little nervous about that one because, you know, I'm going to guess and I'll probably get it wrong. We'll see. All right. farts. Gotta come back out. Yep, you guessed it. E-brake cable. Rat farts. It's got a little bend in it, which makes it catch every single thing. It has to have that bend. All right, let's try this again. By the time I'm done with this, maybe I'll be good at it. It's catching everything. What are you caught on now, little feller? There we go. Okay. Yeah. All right. We'll deal with that in a little bit. Maybe move to the back now. See what I can do back there. This I don't even know if you can see what I'm doing up in here. This has to go behind this guy. Hey, that was actually pretty simple. Looks like it's pretty close to where it needs to go. What I don't know about is that I'm gonna have to drop this thing out of here. It's the muffler bracket. See, that doesn't line up at all. Can probably bend on this tab some. Also loosen it at the top. There's a bolt right there. And I think this went underneath of here. I think. Maybe look back at some old video. But it's loosely in there now. I don't want it running over there, so it's probably gonna have to come underneath of this thing. So let me fiddle fart with that for a little while. This hanger looks like it was just zipped in with self-tappers, which is not a surprise because it only came with one factory bracket over there for the exhaust hanger, single exhaust 318, not any kind of anything fancy. All right, keep on keeping on. Okay, so you can see I've got that kind of jammed in there. I'll see if I can get in a little better on it over here with this, and it's just sitting in there for now, right? Gonna keep it, I got it centered there. This will go right back up. I got it routed underneath of here. Looks pretty good. I went ahead and threw a couple of clips in. These are super easy to pop on and off, so I like how that looks. And it fit up pretty good underneath. It fit up real nice. So I still got it's got a sag in it, obviously, because there's that one slip clip in the middle, which I did get a new one with the kit, the clip kit that I ordered. A new one did come. So here, let me see if I can find it in my bag of tricks here. Yep, there we go. Get off out of there. Brand new one. And I've still got the other one, which is in good condition. Obviously I'll use this one, but if I wanted to, I could put a second one up on there. So that's pretty cool. Now, gonna jump in to the area here, the engine bay, and go ahead and snag this one in. And I had to unbend that one right there, and it's got clips and whatnot in there. And you can see maybe down there, that's where the rear brake line is coming, just on the outside of the torsion bar, right by the jack stand. And I'm thinking the header should go inside of the torsion bar to this side, so I should have pretty decent access, although the master cylinder and everything will be there. I'd have to really reach down in there to get to that proportioning valve, but I think that's going to be the trick, to put it in right there. But first I'm going to get everything loosely put together, that way I can really make a smart decision, because the front distribution block goes in right in this area here against the frame rail. So I need to see how all that lays out, because you can see there's brackets and stuff down there that'll just be all in the way of trying to twist a little knob. But maybe it's just me putting off cutting into a brand new brake line. All right, let me get started on this. All right, mostly I just got to get all this garbage out of my way. All right, so here's our clips. Snakes around the other side of the steering column, and then down, I think right there on the frame. I don't think there's another bracket back there that it goes into, but let's just start jamming it into place and see what happens. All these wires need to be gone through really at least the old wiring harness, so that I can wrap them all real good. All this old stuff, it's coming apart, but save that for another day. All right, she's already fighting me over here. Hung up on something. There we go. All right. I think you go out right around there. And catching on everything. So it should. There it goes. That's better. Ooh. This one catches here. This one catches there, and then one right here. So there's some bending needs to go on. All right, that one's not going in there real good. Still a little proud right there. Just force your will on it. All right, that's hung up there. That seems a little more likely. All right, and then, wow, that one's, I don't even know where that one's going. It's out there in Texas somewhere. Huh. I have to climb out and take a look at that. Oh boy, plenty to do. Looks pretty goodish. I have no idea until I put in the distribution block what that's going to look like. And while the old one was good, went ahead and got a new one anyway. This needs to go in again loosely, just so I can find the right position. And here's the old distro bolt, distro block bolt, nice and rusty. And tab, how did you go? I think you went right like that, maybe? That can't be right. Okay, well, let me figure this one out. I think it has to go, yeah, that way. And that brake line is not going to work like that. Well, we'll see. All right, I'll keep after it. Now this master cylinder and the booster came as a package, and you saw me fight this booster in a couple videos ago. And I'm going to assume, and we know what there's a saying about that, but I'm going to assume that that plunger, or the rod, which looks adjustable, is going to be the right depth for this. Otherwise, I'm going to have to do a lot to get that to work right. But for now, again, like everything else, loosely bolt this on, because I got more lines to go from here down to the distro block. This is the driver's side brake line. And I'm running out of time this morning because now I got to move on to a couple of other things. Tend to some chores. But that's okay. We've made pretty good progress so far. And this I can tighten up, but. And then here's the two prefab brake lines. Dropping down from the master cylinder, and I really might pop this back off and then go ahead and thread these on at the top. That way I'm not fighting not being able to see down in here. And of course they're color coded and sized so that you get the correct one to the correct part of the distribution block. So just a little bit more to go in the loose bolt up. And then I guess the next step will be to hack into that brake line and put in this distribution lock. Let me show you that. So here's the distribution block that I bought. Not super expensive. It's pretty standard. You know your increase and decrease. and in and out to the rear brakes, in from the distribution block. And if I put it like this, it didn't come with any bolts, so I'm gonna have to find some 1.5 inch, probably self tappers. It's kind of like if you bolt it to the frame, there's a lip on the frame, so you won't be able to get your fingers onto the knob real good or see the increase, decrease. Decrease is counterclockwise, increase is clockwise. That's pretty easy to remember. But I'm going to be messing with this a lot, right? When I first get the brakes, finally get an engine in it. And when I'm going to really have to adjust to lower the pressure to the rear brakes so they don't lock up as soon as I touch the pedal. Plus, if I increase the required pressure to get to the back, it'll be easier to do burnouts, which would be really cool. But I want to be able to access this, and I can already see it's going to be a challenge. Maybe I flip it over. I'll have to find out. I think you could run it upside down. That way I just reach under the car and boop, boop, boop. So let me find out. I'll probably have to call Inline Tube. I don't see why you couldn't flip it upside down. Seems to me that you'd be able to put it in any orientation you needed to. But I'll double check, because, I do stupid things, and then I win stupid prizes. Alright, so as you saw yesterday, got the ball joint in. And let me give you a preview of what's coming next weekend, or possibly the weekend after. I think I'm going to be out of town next weekend. But let's take a look at some of the goodies we got going on. Right here, we'll start in with this. We'll get this going. Alright, that's the disc brake spindle. Pretty nice looking piece. I'll talk more about that later. And here is the powder coated brake caliper, which looks shockingly like the 80s and 90s trucks, early 90s, all through the 80s. Looks like the exact same caliper, which they're good calipers, It came loaded with some ceramic discs, and here's the bracket that is going to go on. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about this, but just briefly, I'm waiting on something, because this came with cheap Chinese bearings, and I'm real nervous about putting those on there. So what I've done is gone in and ordered Timken bearings, inner and outer, for both sides, because I trust USA made Timken, and I don't want to redo these bearings or gack up these if the bearings fail out on the road, and while I'm coming to a stop they end up chewing up or all that. So I just don't want to take any chances on bearings. Some things you just don't skimp on. So maybe the Chinese bearings are good. I'm not going to find out though. So that's going to do it for this weekend. Run out of time. Got to get some editing on this done and load it up to the inner tubes. And I'm going to be out of town next weekend, so hopefully the following weekend I'll be able to get after a little bit more and, baby steps, making small progress, a little bit at a time. I'm not particularly fast at any of this, but I sure am enjoying it sometimes, I think, maybe. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you again real soon. Have a great week.